speaking of the ops, this is the elephant in the room.
I feel like that's the first time we've said that in like our first two episodes. It's time to get real.
This is the elephant in the room segment. You know the spiel. We talk about things that some people don't really want to talk about, but we're gonna go after it. So today we would like to speak on performative activism, what it is, why it's whack, and why you listeners at home should not partake in it.
Oren, for the people that don't know what performative activism is, can you speak on it?
Yeah, performative activism is basically acting like you care about a certain issue, right? And being on Instagram and all the social medias and posting your black squares and saying I'm going to read this and I'm going to do this, but not really doing it at all, just doing it to get likes and to assuage yourself of any of
I'm ready to go.
assuage yourself of any kind of guilt that you have for being complicit in the system that is white supremacy, that is oppression. That is what performative activism is.
Let's speak about it.
Josh, y'all side. And clout is a fucking disease.
It is. Josh, the floor is yours because I know you're ready to. Dun, dun, dun,
dun, dun. What kind of brought this concept, right, of performative action to my mind today? Casey Goodson Jr.
Yeah, man.
Casey Goodson Jr. Okay. Yeah. Now I don't want to get into the specific details of the case, right? Because I don't know all of them off the top of my head. It was pretty recent. But essentially, the brother was holding a sandwich and maybe, I believe, a drink, and he was walking into his own home, and the police shot him in the back 3 times, and he is no longer.
Also, Josh, just wanted to put this in the story too. They thought he was a fugitive that they were looking for, and they were mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Especially after Breonna Taylor's case, the police's story differs vastly from a lot of the on the scene accounts, whether it was his family or neighbors. The stories differ greatly. And I believe we are all at the point in America in which I don't know if we can give the police's account of things as much credibility as maybe our parents could, but I would even argue our parents probably shouldn't have, right? Because even back then, they probably didn't have the information available that we have today. But at the end of the day, we marched all those miles weeks ago. We thought that we got some legislation through, whether that's the body cams, whether that's the public city council. In this case specifically, the body cam footage was not on or available, or even if it is available, we haven't seen it yet. Or 2, the police actually declined to even investigate the murder initially until we have this public outcry. Ideally, I believe there's going to be some protest in Columbus Friday. I'm going to try to participate in. So then once I heard this news, I posted it on my story, right? I posted that we were going to have a protest on Friday. I basically just said, I'm going to bring out some sandwiches, maybe some waters, people protesting, et cetera, et cetera. Just trying to do my part, right? Personally, I don't know if I can sit on the sidelines when things like this happen, right? So I posted this on my story, and I got some responses. A lot of the responses were, supportive, go for it, we appreciate you. But a lot of the responses were also, man, we're quarantining right now. And a lot of people were struggling with, how do you participate during a quarantine? And to be fair, quarantining and protesting, people have to understand this, guys. These are both life or death issues, okay? Some people have to take quarantining very seriously. They have old people in their lives. They have young kids in their lives. It is a life or death issue, whether or not they quarantine. But as a Black man in America, especially, protesting is also a life or death issue. This isn't a game. This isn't just something that's fun to do. This isn't just an Instagram post for a lot of us. This is something that at the end of the day, if I were to look back at what I did during this time, I need to know that I did my best. I need to know that I showed up, right? And that was basically my response to people when they were asking, essentially what they were asking me was, how do they avoid performative action, right? They want to stay in the house. They don't want to go outside because they're quarantining, but they also want to feel like they participated in the protest. They want to participate without being performative. And I got that from many people. And the response I essentially gave them was that you have to decide two things, really. One, what do you care about? And then two, how much effort can you give? And only every individual can answer that question. Only you can answer that for your freaking self. Only you know what you care about. Only you know if you care about quarantining or do you care about protesting more. Only you know that. And you have to be honest with yourself. And if you decide that you care about protesting, if you decide that, only you know how much effort you can put into it. Only you know what's available to you. Only you know how much time you have each day to put towards something. And all I want to tell people is when you're 20 years from now, I want everyone to look back at this time and feel confident in what they did. I want everyone to look back at this time and feel like they did their best for something they cared about. Okay. So if you're telling me you're cooped up in the house, that's fine. You don't have to come outside. But if you're sitting in your house doing nothing, not doing nothing, but if you're sitting in your house not doing as much as you know you can, then you're going to feel bad about that. And I know you will if you've already decided you care about these protests. And I'm not even going to give people specific things they can do. I'm not going to tell you all the things that you can do from home. Because again, this is a decision that you need to make. It is not my place to sit here and tell you what you need to do to feel like you are a part of this movement. It's really not, I don't think. I think it is up to every individual to decide for themselves what is 100% for you. And you need to freaking do it. And if you actually decide for yourself that the only thing you can do is make one post on Instagram, you're not being honest with yourself. You're not being real. If you're telling me that a black man died in the streets and the best you could do was make a post on IG, the best you could do is quote unquote raise awareness for things, you couldn't even make the stretch to actually look online the things that you could do instead. Ask yourself, is that the best you could have done? And until you answer that question, you're going to have that hole in your heart. You're going to have that hole. And that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I love
some real shit, bro.
I love what you said though.
Real shit.
When you look back, like when you have kids in 15, 20 years and they're old enough to go back and look at history and see the turbulent year that is 2020, and they say, oh, people took to the streets during a pandemic. That's crazy. What did you do, mommy or daddy? And you only can say, oh yeah, I posted a black square on my Instagram. You know, how ashamed you might have to be really ashamed of yourself, especially if you consider yourself a friend to black people, people of color. You know, you can't see these things and not be outraged. If you're not outraged, then you aren't a friend. You're not an ally. Like that should hurt you. That should quiver you to your core. Like it's not a black or white thing. It's a human issue. It is a straight up. We are seeing tyranny. We are literally seeing tyranny in the streets. We're seeing awful things played out on camera a lot of times now. It's not like we're just hearing about it. We're seeing it all the time. Like this should bother you. And if all you have for that is an IG post and a false promise of I'm going to educate myself by reading, then fuck out of here. We don't want you. We don't want you. We don't need you.
Just to back up your point, bro, at the same time too, bro, I feel like this country in general, to me, has always been a me first. If it doesn't directly affect me, it's not my issue. I even hear things with people who say, well, white people die more than black people do. So like, who really, it's like, no, but if that's the case, why don't you care about white people dying in these streets to cops as well? Exactly. I think that using that excuse is a cop out into just not creating friction in your reality because it doesn't affect you. And I'm gonna be real with you. I've had also arguments with people where they were like, we shouldn't reform the police. Why would we reform the police? We need them to protect us. Well, as of right now, we need that because I don't feel protected. I don't see protection. All I see is bullies. All I see is gang shit. I see a gang that can literally do whatever they want and no one can do a thing about it. I see people who are going in their houses with sandwiches in their hands being mistaken for guns, dying. I'm seeing someone have a knee on his neck for 8 minutes. No police officer in sight did anything about it. I'm seeing bullshit. And this is also happening in other countries as well. And it's even worse there with SARS in Nigeria. We're watching police literally take out their own citizens, the own citizens of the country being taken out. For what? Because they have an iPhone and earrings? This is bullshit. Yeah. And yo, I'm telling you this right now, man. If the only reason why you posted is because you like fucking black men or you like our music and you don't want that to go away, and that was your biggest, reasoning for coming out, yo, real talk, fuck off. Like, yo, we like OP said, and like what Josh says, we don't need y'all. You guys are the blockage in the movement. Because if you're going to sit here and tell me, and there are people that say, well, black people don't die in dust. This is the best time to be black. Yo, all because it's the best time for me doesn't mean it's the best time for everybody else, my nigga. We have to bond again. We have to understand that your problems is my problems. If you're a Christian saying all this shit about love thy neighbor and respect and all this other shit, and then when it comes down to it and you see somebody in the street dying over some bullshit, over some shit that's not up to them because they don't have a badge, then you're not a real Christian or a real human. You don't give a fuck about the human race. You just care about yourself. And if that's you, bro, like I said, fuck off, because we don't really need you. I don't really want to conversate with you, kick it with you, nothing, bro, because you are just holding us back from true progress.
If
you don't want us to see
those people choose to do nothing, they've already, chosen their side. If you do nothing, you've picked your side. You've chosen the bad guy. Yeah, you can't be complacent, because I think it's about our future kids, man. Like to stop this from happening in the future and happening to our kids and happening to the future youth, we have to do something about it right now. Because I tell you what, if I have a son or a black daughter in the future who gets unlawfully shot down in the streets, I don't know what's going to take over me. We're trying to keep our souls from going dark. We're trying to keep from going evil. We want to address these problems now before it gets worse. And this is the right way to do it. So if you're sitting by the wayside and you're not helping the cause, then you have to look at yourself in the mirror and know that you've already chosen your side.
And at the same time, too, well, I just want to say this, bro. I have a sister who's 10 years old, bro. She was born when I was 16. If you know anything about the generation, you know that our age group has been having kids early as 16 to 15 years old. That is damn near like my firstborn kid. That's how we treated her. That's how my brothers treated her. That was our responsibility, was that little girl, right? Right now, she goes to a private school. She's the only black kid in her class. I tell her all the time, yo, I understand that these are your friends, but you can't do what they do. You cannot. People are not going to look at you as the same, and that's just the world that we live in, man. So what I tell her to do is, yo, just be you at all times. Be respectful, be kind, and be open-minded. But at the same time, don't forget where you come from. You come from a generation of people who have self-respect for themselves, who really respect themselves, who really respect their culture, that keep it 100 every time about who they are as a people. Regardless of if we're first generation Africans or African Americans, being black is a statement. It's a blessing to be. Never forget that that's what you are. And it's hard for her to maneuver in those spaces because she doesn't look like everybody else. And anyone that wants to be like, well, that's an excuse, that's a cop-out. No, that's real life. That's real life. That's reality for some people. My sister's the only black kid there, bro. So when she fucks up, it's heightened more. It's just like that, bro. And I ain't even got about to go into all that, but yo, she's 10 years old and her life is important to my family. She's the last one, bro. So
Yeah.
All you motherfuckers out there that think that this shit is a game or like it doesn't matter to you, don't comment nothing about my sister then, bro, if it doesn't matter to you. Don't say nothing to me.
And here's the
And-
thing is that
Don't say nothing to me, bro.
the onus isn't on Black people to make amends for the awful things that have happened in this country and in the world, right? It is not on us to carry that burden. It is on the people that are empowered, that have that power structure, to try and make changes from within, right? Which is why we need allyship, which is why we need that help, because obviously we can't do it on our own, right? So if you can put all that effort into posting stupid things like that, if you can say, oh, I'm gonna post this black square, put that towards something that actually matters, right? If you actually believe that, have conversations with your family members and I might believe in the things that you say that you believe in. If you actually believe that stuff, then do something about it. Don't talk about it, be about it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. It's not that
and
hard.
going back to the police reform real quick, the reason why we need police reform, because this black man who was shot down in the streets was not an immediate threat. He was not endangering the lives of those policemen that shot him, and he was not carrying a gun. So for them to have their first option be, we need to take this man out, is a fucking issue. They could have tackled him. They could have, however the fucking police shit is, however it goes, whatever the procedures
How many
are.
of you compared to this one man? How
Yeah,
how many
exactly.
of y'all compared to one man?
Exactly.
It's not even like
What do
he
you
was shooting
fear,
at
my
them,
nigga?
yeah.
And at the
You
same time,
shooting this man?
yo, I just watched the interview that his mother and his attorney, their attorney, just had on the Breakfast Club. She literally said that he was shot in the back and landed into their house. Yo, his mother's grandma saw it, and her 5-year-old son saw it,
Mm-hmm.
and called his mom saying, "Mom, they just shot Casey. Please come, hurry up. They just shot him. He's on the ground right here, bleeding out. Like, come get me, please. I'm scared." A 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Childhood trauma.
Can I just say, like,
Fuck out of here, man. Shit is crazy, man. It's ridiculous.
It's
man.
like OP, like we were all touching on it. Like Brendan, like you had mentioned, what you were describing earlier was essentially it's called virtue signaling, right? Like when people, and what virtue signaling is, like the definition of it is, and I just want to say this really quick, because what I really want to teach people is really like how to be an ally, right? Like how to do it. And when OP, you mentioned it a little bit, like the conversations that you have, right? And I feel like one of the reasons that why it's tough to have these conversations is because people don't know how, right? Like people don't know how to have these conversations. People don't know the conversations that are important. So just really quick, I just want to just give like some advice, right?
Good.
And B, you talked about it earlier, essentially virtue signaling. It is, you post something. What virtue signaling is it's the idea that you post something or you say something, you signal something with the motivation to be seen in a better light from a certain group. That's why you do something. You do something for the purpose of making yourself look better to other people, right? And inherently, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not necessarily. And here's what I mean. So when I posted that IG thing on my story, my friend reposted it. A white guy. He reposted it on his story. And then one of his peoples commented on that and said, "Oh, okay, I see you virtual signaling." Because what the dude said, he posted it and it simply said, "Can't wait to see y'all there." And the dude commented and said, "Hey, I see you virtual signaling," right? So I want to explain to people really quick is what should you say in this situation? If you post something basically saying, "Hey guys, y'all should get out there," and someone basically comments, "You're virtual signaling," almost in their mind, because they're thinking, "Oh, you're just trying to make me feel bad that I don't care about this." That's what they think. You when they post something and they comment saying you're virtual signaling, what they're basically saying is,
Like you're better than me.
yeah, you're only posting this. You're posting this. You don't even care about this. You're only posting this because you think you're better than me, right? That's what they're thinking in their head, right? But let's get back to the definition of virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is doing something to make yourself look good in the light of other people, right? Which inherently isn't even necessarily a bad thing. If you do some research on what's wrong with virtue signaling becomes an issue when what Brendan was talking about earlier happens, when that's all you do. You're really just posting things, and you post things and you get that good feeling in your stomach because other people are bigging you up. And that stops you from doing the subsequent steps. You post and you talk about something, but that stops you from actually performing the actions that are required, you know, to actually further the cause that you're discussing, right? And all you really have to say to those people that call you out for virtue signaling and say, okay, I am posting this because it's important. But what I'm doing now isn't stopping me from doing the other things I need to do. I will post this and I will be there. I will post this and I'll post something else and I'll do that too. So then if someone says you're virtue signaling, it's simple. As long as you back up that post with action, you've literally done nothing wrong. And it's not even, and then it's almost your reflection of them. They're looking at you because they feel inadequate in their own self, right? Because now that they've tried to call you out, they've tried to say you're virtue signaling, this is all fake, you're not really going to do anything about it. Once you tell them, oh no, I am doing things, this is what I've done, these are the things I'm doing, now they have to look at themselves. Now they have to look at themselves and say, what am I doing? What am I doing? Am I helping this cause? Am I hurting it? What's going on here? You know, so virtue signaling, what you were describing earlier, B, is not inherently a problem. It's only an issue if it stops you from doing the actions that need to come afterwards.
And that's what's so frustrating about, this whole digital age, is that people think that posting or reposting something is work. Like that is hard work.
It's
That is
not.
nothing. That is
Get
nothing.
your hands dirty. Get
That
your
is
hands
lazy.
dirty.
That is laziness. That
And
is
yo,
nothing.
Oren, yo, there were actual people that posted that dumbass black square and deleted it. Yo,
I'm sure.
You guys
I'm
are
sure.
you guys are the worst.
I'm sure.
Ever, if you did that and you know you did it, you just posted it just to, like Josh said, to make yourself feel like you really give a fuck or like you're a part of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
It's disgusting, honestly.
You don't get it, and that's your privilege.
Disgusting.
And that is your privilege, that you can post a black square thinking that you did something when there's people actually needing you to work with them in order for change to actually come about. Like, I'm gonna say this right now. I went and marched with Oren, with Josh, for the George Floyd incident that happened this past summer. We marched. I saw cops on top of the state building. You know, I'm looking up. I was scared as fuck. I was scared as fuck because I'm seeing like army tanks, people in like the National Guard with real AKs in their hands. And I'm like, yo, what do you think we're going to do here? Yo, we're literally here just to raise awareness that our police is taking advantage of its citizens. That's it. Yo, this guy, Casey what was his last name? I'm sorry.
Goodson.
Goodson, didn't want to mess that up. Yo, do you know that he had a concealed carry? Where the fuck is the NRA at? Where the fuck is the NRA at?
Yeah, the Second Amendment doesn't apply to black people.
Thank you, man.
Nope.
It never has.
Nope.
It never
It doesn't
has.
apply to black people.
Because guess what?
almost-
Fidel Castile had a concealed carry. And what happened? He died. He still died.
It's almost more of a
NRA?
risk to actually get your concealed carry for black folks.
The
'Cause
NRA,
it
bro,
almost gives
you guys-
it almost gives you a fake sense of security if you have a concealed carry because you think you're good because you're
Right.
following the law, and it's like, no, sorry, actually you're not.
Yep.
According to them.
Fidel Castile still died, had a concealed carry. This guy was waving a sandwich. Casey Goodson had a sandwich. A sandwich. And he died. For Subway? Because you niggas thought it was a gun?
Yeah.
Yo, like I said before, if you are posting that black square bullshit, or you're just posting because, oh my gosh, like I fuck black men and I don't want them to die, the black guys that I fuck. Because that's what we also see. Let's keep it a bean.
Mhm.
If that's you, just leave it alone. Just leave us be. Let us do the work.
Yeah.
Because
Keep your
they're
ignorance
failing.
at home.
They're trying to virtue signal, and I don't think what they realize is that we see through it. Like if your goal is to post something to feel as a part of a group, but like we see through it. The only people that don't see through it are other people that are posting black squares to also feel a part of that group. You know what I mean? The only people that are fooled by that kind of virtue signal are other virtue signalers. The people that I think they're trying to get to, at least I would hope they're trying to get to, we don't care about a black square. We really don't. If anything, it's so bare minimum that y'all can probably attest. If I didn't see a black square, I knew you were racist. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't at least see some kind of post, I knew you were.
Because most of y'all only care about a black man when he's on your fantasy football team. But when it comes time to really raise awareness and really stand up for that black man, or the black man that you went to high school with that was great at sports and now he doesn't play sports anymore, y'all don't care about that guy.
Don't.
Because he doesn't fulfill that excitement for you anymore. He's just another guy to you. But when he was that guy scoring touchdowns, he was a hero. He was somebody. He was a great athlete. He was a great guy. And I know, bro, there's some guys that I know from the Natty that were great football players. They're not playing football now, but got to play in college and a little bit in the NFL, and they had all the clout and had all the attention growing up. And I looked up to them as guys that, wow, they're really doing it. They're really putting on for the city. They're really putting in that work. Guys that I actually seen work, put the work in because they wanted to be in a better situation. And it led them to great lives in that field. And then once they lost that and didn't have it anymore, they were just regular guys. I didn't see that same talk about those guys after they were done in their respective fields of sports. Because once again, they only care about us when we're dunking a ball or catching a football or playing baseball. You know what I'm saying? They don't really care about you when the game stops. That's another issue with that as well, bro. Like, this is a human crisis. If you care about humanity, you care about this. If you just care about some humans, then you don't care about humanity. You're not a good person. You're not a good Christian. You're none of that shit. So stop with the imposter bullshit that you're leading us. It's only hurting the cause. But that's all I gotta say, bro. My fault.
And motherfuckers want to be patriots and shit. Like, how the fuck is it patriotic to love your country seeing niggas getting shot down in the street? What the fuck is patriotic about that? But motherfuckers love their country. They love their country. It's like, no. Make sure the country is doing for everybody what it's doing for you. Then you can say you love your fucking country.
Like Josh has always said, they love the idea of what America is supposed to be. And any kind of and whenever that comes under attack, it's a whoa. This place is amazing. What are you talking about? This place is giving you everything you have.
Yep.
It's like, it's giving you much. It hasn't given us much.
There's a lot of people out there that when they see us outside, if your first mindset is if your mind doesn't immediately go, oh shoot, another man was killed. If your mind goes, oh wait, another protest. If you say the latter initially, you have to do an entire reconstruction of your mind. Mm-hmm. If when you see us outside, if your first thought isn't, damn, another man was lost today, and your mind goes straight to, oh man, so they're outside again. Oh, the protest again. Oh, then you're just you got it. Your priorities are so in the wrong place. No podcast is going to help you try to get that together. There's no words I can say right now that are going to make you switch from thinking, man, traffic is really backed up today versus, man, we just lost another human today. Like there's nothing I can say, which is why I didn't even want to say it initially. Mm-hmm. But if you're outside, that's it.
Yeah. That sort of pain don't reach those people. And it's like, it's a psychotic type thing. Like the fact that we're losing black men, innocent black men in the streets. If that doesn't make your heart hurt, then like you said, they need to reevaluate themselves.
And women.
And
just
women,
people,
and
yo,
women,
people.
yeah.
We're humans, yo. Like all this stuff should matter. I'm not saying, all whatever. I'm saying like human lives that are lost, they should matter.
Right.
So why don't you care? Why don't you care?
People are so pussy when it comes to exercising their morals because they don't want to fucking look bad. It's like, who gives a fuck? Let people know that you have a backbone and that you can see these things and that you have instincts.
And it shouldn't be that you're too pussy because you want to look bad. Yo, this is nothing. if you stand up for human rights, yo, there's nothing bad about you. Just know that there's nothing bad about what you're doing.
If you don't stand up, you pussy.
Yeah. That's
and the hardest part is you can't make someone care. No matter how much you try, you literally can't make someone care. That just has to do with how their heartstrings work. And if they don't have that, then they're kind of a lost cause. But before we close this out, I wanted to not retract, but go back on something I said before, where I said people would look at like post squares and say that they're going to read something. There's nothing wrong. I was wrong about that. There's nothing wrong with reading literature and getting yourself hip to what is going on and understanding, or, quote unquote, decolonizing your mind, whatever you want to say it is. There's nothing wrong with that. It's how you apply it that's important. It's what you do with that knowledge afterwards. That's the most important thing, So I just wanted to go back on that.
And one more thing, OP, before you finish. Yo, have these conversations with people who don't think the same way as you do. The more conversations, the better. But have constructive, open-minded conversations into just understanding what other people are going through and what other people who don't look like us are also helping us fight for. It's important.
It's facts.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Casey Goodson.
What'd you say?
God rest his soul.
R.I.P. to Casey Goodson too, bro.
Yeah. R.I.P. R.I.P.
Another life lost, bro. It's important, bro.
Yeah. Hopefully his family finds some clarity.
It's hard.
Yo,
want to thank you all for. What do you say?
My fault, OP. Real quick to lighten it up. What do y'all think Casey asked God when he got up there to those pearly gates? What was his first question?
What did he ask?
What do you think he asked? He said, "I couldn't eat my sandwich though, God. I couldn't eat my sandwich. These niggas gonna get me on an empty stomach, God. They ain't shit."
That's a little too soon, bro. That is too soon.
I'm just trying to lighten
ties into the pod though, but yeah, man. R.I.P. to Casey Goodson, man. Bro,
R.I.P. man.
Shit, man.
Casey Goodson, R.I.P. George Floyd.
Yes.
R.I.P. Breonna Taylor, R.I.P. Philando Castile, and the countless other Black lives that have been taken for no damn reason. But thank you all for listening, tuning in to the Elephant in the Room podcast. It's your boy OP. It's your boy Brennan, Josh, Will. I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank you guys for always bringing in good content, always being real with us and with everyone. We're signing off.
Peace.
Sir.
Cash only. The money is counted, these niggas they doubted, these diamonds is shouting, I'm whipping her out.